Hello everybody and welcome back to my video series, The World of Crystals. It has been a while, I know, and I do apologize. However, I've been dealing with some really hard stuff pertaining to my cat's health, as well as work has just been kind of discouraging with one of my coworkers having some serious health complications and may never be coming back. So there's a lot of mixed emotions going on right now, and 2021 is just proving to be 10 times worse, in my opinion, compared to 2020. However, I do welcome you to this video series, and today I'm going to be talking about a very special kind of crystal. A crystal that can talk to you. You sound crazy. Yeah, you know, I actually can't really say that doesn't sound crazy, but let me explain some things. The crystals that I'm talking about today are called pendulums. And you might have heard of pendulums, especially if you actually did take science classes. Pendulums have been used for a multitude of things, and for different types of activities, and for finding water, and even more stuff. Pendulums are actually quite useful, and even in the scientific community, they still use them to this day. And I just realized my AC turned on. Hehe. Oh well. As you'll notice, I don't edit my videos either, so this is going to be fun. However, the truth and the reality is that there's not a lot that we understand about pendulums. But what we do understand about them is that they do move, depending upon whether or not it's actual energies, whether it's centrifugal force, or whether it's just magnets. Pendulums move, and it's really cool. Well, whether or not it's actually magic, well, I like to think of magic. I definitely believe that there is some things that we can never explain, and I think that makes life just a little more exciting and fun. Now, pendulums are not a Ouija board. Let me reiterate this, very important. Pendulums are not a Ouija board. Ouija boards definitely have some kind of negative energy in them, and that's why even for people that are atheists, they don't trust them. Do not use a Ouija board. Please never use a Ouija board. I request that. Unless I still request it. Even if you are a witch, I still request it. Please do not use them. But pendulums don't do that. In fact, pendulums are not connected to the spirit world at all. Pendulums are either connected to us, or at the very least, they're crystals that understand us. Now, what I'm trying to get at is that a pendulum understands what you need, whereas you might not understand that at all. And this is why I love them. I am like one of the most indecisive people on the planet, but I also have a pretty bad problem of wanting to buy everything and anything. Well, to an extent. I'm not that bad. However, when I love stuff, like crystals, I want to buy the whole store. And so, utilizing my pendulums to help me figure out which crystal I really need helps me to actually determine and figure out, okay, this is one that I need, and this is one that I do not need. And it's really, really, really useful. Now, a lot of you might be going like, okay, well, what does a pendulum look like? So, let us begin. Behold, a pendulum. This one's my favorite. He's my little special guy. I take him with me everywhere, and his name is Sun. Just Sun. I thought about naming him Apollo, but he didn't like that name. However, to start off with, a pendulum has to give you its response of what a yes and a no looks like. So whenever you want to get a pendulum, the first thing that you need to do, and you don't have to do this, is just to pick it up. However, some people are just going to be drawn to a pendulum, and that is my first rule of thumb. When it comes to crystals, just go with the ones that you're drawn to. Don't worry about like, what does it heal and all this stuff. You'll learn later on that crystals heal in many different ways and why you're attracted to certain types of crystals. With the pendulums, that's going to be the same thing. However, if you're just not finding too much attraction, or if you're finding all of the attraction, then definitely take the time to ask it some questions. So to begin with, you always have to ask a pendulum it's yes and it's no. By starting off, being as steady and as still as you can, start off by saying, show me your yes. Show me your no. And then from there, you can ask it questions like, are my eyes green? my hair brown? And then from there you could ask it the questions that you really need answers for. Now, the reason why I said you need to ask a pendulum to show you its yes and its no first is because not all pendulums are the same. One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to customers coming into the store being like, yeah, so the pendulum's responses are just back and forth in a circle, just like what my Sunstone did. However, the reality is that not all pendulums are made equal. Behold this pendulum. He's called a chevron amethyst. So, let me show you what his yes and his no's are. Show me your yes. Show me your no. See that? He's different from my Sunstone. Now you may be noticing also in the background, I'm keeping my arm as steady as I possibly can. However, you're not going to always be able to do that, so let me get him just to move on his own, just so that way I can show you that depending upon what the answer is for an item, no matter what your arm might do, at some point it will get back into the pattern of what it needs to do to give you the answer. Pretty cool, right? Even if I tell it to swing yes and to swing yes, if it's no, it doesn't care. It will go back to that pattern. So you can't manipulate a pendulum. That's not how it works. That's why pendulums are so fascinating though, because you can't actually make it do that way. Now, yes, you could take a crystal and you could go wee, but that's not how crystals work, and especially not pendulums. Pendulums move by themselves, and the whole purpose is because they know you don't know yourself as well, or at least the conscious awareness of you doesn't know yourself. So crystals help you to figure that out. Now, be sure to try not to get pendulums with too many crystals. I've learned 2 is a respectable amount, and it allows you to be able to get the answers that you really need, as well as help you to figure out what it is that you need from the pendulum. Pendulums are so useful for so many things. Again, I use them for asking questions where I'm indecisive, or just to help me figure out what I really need in my life. They also help me to figure out whether or not I'm being indecisive about something that I don't really need to be indecisive about. So they're very helpful. And in a lot of ways, even just the swinging motion of the pendulum can be calming and soothing. That's why it's used in hypnosis, but it can actually help you fall asleep better. Let's say you have insomnia. A pendulum might actually help you to fall asleep quickly. Yes, better than watching YouTube. That's kind of my go-to. But it's true. The moving and the motions of pendulums are very calming and soothing, and they just help give that balance that we need. You could also use them to focus on specific points of the body where you're feeling kind of sluggish, or maybe you're experiencing more pain in that part of the body. In a lot of ways, the motion's supposed to help, but maybe even just being able to concentrate on the pendulum is all you really need. And I think that's pretty cool in and of itself. Now, pendulums are not perfect. They'll sometimes want to please you, and they will tell you yes, 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 because it's what you want. So whenever there's that problem, always feel free to ask the pendulum the one question it can never lie. Are you being biased? And if it responds with no, hey, you're good to go. It wasn't being biased. I apologize if my camera's about to fall over. Bolt, what are you doing? I would show you my cat, however, he has cancer of the eye right now, and he's not doing super great. You can kind of hear him snorting right now. Sadly, it affects the sinuses, so I just don't feel comfortable sharing how he looks because he's in a pretty rough state. So just understand, he's a very cute little kitty though. He's my sweetheart, and I'm very sad that this has happened to him. However, that is life. I guess that's the one thing that I've appreciated the most about the pendulums, It's just the comfort that they've given me in these times. Even though I know that at some point I'll have to say goodbye to him, I've appreciated the fact that I can reach for the pendulum and find comfort from its swinging, and just even feeling like maybe in some ways it's swinging over him helps. And whether it does or doesn't, let's talk about placebos. Placebos, which are scientifically and medically proven to be effective, just means that your brain actually might do more of the healing than anything else. And to me, that's something that I think we should all be aware of when it comes to crystals. I think it's sad when people really make crystals out to be these amazing, massive healers. I don't think that you should give up going to a doctor to find out what they suggest, but I do think that we should be more open-minded to figuring out if there are other things that could help us. Let me just tell you a little bit about my personal experience. When I first started working at the crystal shop, I had some interest in the metaphysical properties of crystals. However, I was far more interested in crystals and how they formed, because it's amazing how all of these specific chemical reactions, heats and pressures, as well as even chills and like cold air, compression, even just water dropping onto specific mineral sediments. That's all it takes to make crystals, and it just blows my mind every day that that's it. That's all it takes. However, that's what really drew me to wanting to get the job that I have now. Now that I work there though, I began to realize the importance and the truth of metaphysical properties, and I began to realize it's not super crazy. However, I'm not one who's going to be like, now hold this amethyst and you'll be cured. I do think that if you have some health problems, go talk to a doctor, figure out some other things. However, doctors shouldn't be completely unreasonable and tell you only my method is the way to cure you. If a doctor's not willing to say, hey, I don't know everything, let's try it, then they may not be the best doctor in the world. And I do think that doctors need to be more willing to be like, hey, we need to look into other things, because I think that there could be more. Even if it does only have to do with our mental health, I think that's important. We put so much focus on the physical that we do forget the mental. And I think when we forget the mental, that's where we go wrong. So I really think that crystals can be useful, they can be helpful, and I do think that if you are interested in wanting to buy crystals and you're just curious about them, go for it. Don't worry about like what it specifically heals. Go into the local crystal shop, walk around, see which one calls to you, pick it up and decide. If it's something that's really expensive, definitely don't feel like you have to buy it, even though I do believe this. Any crystal that you buy will pay you back tenfold what you spent on it. I do believe that. But I don't also want you to go bankrupt because you want to get a $300 crystal or $10,000 crystal. And please also do your research. Sadly, some shops are going to rip you off. It's just what they have to do in some cases. They might be in, parts of towns or places where they have to because their rent is so much. In that case, I do feel like just be understanding and just try to work with them the best that you can. However, just be aware that not all crystals need to cost you an arm and a leg, and you can get a small crystal to begin with. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I look forward to making another video next week. Well, hopefully next week. We'll see how life goes. I'm definitely going to try and do my best to keep making these videos for you folks. But yeah, forgive me if I'm not as good as I was hoping I would be. Life is crazy, and I hope that you guys are all staying safe out there. I hope that you all are doing what is best for your mental and physical health, and I hope that we are all able to just enjoy life comfortably and safely. Have a wonderful day. Bye.